Hey people, what's up? Welcome back to another Skyrim creation kit tutorial video. And this time we're going to make a spell, like I said in the previous video. We're going to make a very simple spell. It's going to be a frost spell and it's going to be an area of effect on ourselves. So first thing you want to do is go to the magic effects window, which is here under magic effect. Go over to the editor ID, right click, click new. Now we can start making the spell. As I said in the last video, the ID is just so you can find your spell inside of the editor ID. So let's name it AAA Frost damage, fire and forget, self. If you ever see FF in the magic effects editor ID, FF just stands for fire and forget. Name, we're going to name it after one of the spells I made for Ethereal Veins. It's going to be Ice Barrage. So let's type that. There we go. And since it's a frost spell, like I said in the previous video, it has to be dual value modifier because we want it to affect 2 attributes, not just 1. Casting type, like I just said, fire and forget. Delivery, it's going to be on ourselves. And this magic skill, this is really important. You got to make sure you put destruction or whatever skill you want your spell to go under. If you don't put anything under magic skill and it's a spell, you're not going to find it in your magic inventory. You're just not. So make sure you do that. Minimum skill level, let's make this an adept spell. So let's type in 50. Associated item 1, since it's a damage spell, it's a frost spell, we're going to do health. And we're going to do stamina. There we go. Second average weight, I didn't explain this in the previous video. All this means is just how strong the second effect is compared to the first. So we want it to be on par with the magnitude on health. So we're going to do 1. For example, let's say the magnitude for this spell is 15 points of damage to health. If we put 0.5 here, stamina will take half of this. So half of 15 would be like 7.5. So once your spell is done, you'll take 15 points of damage to health and 7.5 to stamina if you put 0.5 here. But we don't want that. We want it to take full effect. So 1 is fine. Resist value. This is so that NPCs that resist frost won't be as much badly damaged by this spell. So let's put resist frost. There we go. You don't have to worry about taper duration, taper weight, taper curve for this one because it's a fire and forget. Right over flags, we want it to be hostile whenever we cast it. So hostile should be fine. Detrimental, we want it to actually take away health, not gain health or stamina. No recovery, no FX persist. Make sure you put no recast so that the magic effect doesn't stack on top of each other. No hit effect and no death to spell. Usually don't want to pick this options for spells that harm people, so let's just leave those blank. We don't want duration. No hit event. We actually do want a hit event. Otherwise, if we check this, that means the spell would be stealthy and the NPC actually won't even notice that he got hit. This spell will have a magnitude, so leave that unchecked. This spell will have an area, so leave that unchecked. This spell is not painless. We want to hear the noises of him getting hit. Gory visuals, don't worry about that. And hide UI, we don't want that because we want to see the spell in the actual inventory. If you go over to keywords, right click, click add, type in magic damage frost, click it, click OK, and now you have a magic damage frost under the editor ID in keywords. Now let's go over to target conditions. We don't want any conditions for this spell. I will make another video explaining target conditions fully in depth, so let's leave it at that too. Menu display object, this is really important, otherwise you're not going to see any art in your magic inventory. So go ahead and click it, type in MAG for magic, type in INV for inventory, and then type in ICE for ice, and then press enter. Essentially what you want is magic inventory ice spell art. So you see the ice art in the magic inventory whenever you hover your mouse over it. Casting art, we want the basic frost spell. Casting art, casting light, we want everything that has to do with frost. So go ahead and click on it, type in frost. There's going to be a few frost options here. What you want is frost hand FX01. This is the art that's going to be on your hands whenever you unsheath your spell. If you want, you could use frost bolt hand FX01. It's pretty much a personal preference, however you want your spell to look in your hands. For this one, we're just going to go with frost hand FX01. Casting magic light, you want the frost casting light. So go ahead and click on it, type in MAG, IC for magic, then type in light, then type in ice. Actually not ice, go ahead and type in MAG IC for magic, LIGHT for light, and frost. Then you want to click on magic light frost 01. That is the casting light for the frost spells. You could pick a different magic light, it's up to you, but for this spell we're going to use this one. Hit effect art, we don't want one for this spell, but we do want a hit shader, so go ahead and click on that. Type in frost, and you're going to get a few options again. You don't want the children shaders, you want the frost FX shader. This is the one that all the frost spells use. Just like all the previous options, you can click whatever shader you want to make your spell unique, but for this one we're going to use frost FX shader. We don't want to do anything with enchanting. Projectile, you don't want a projectile for this spell because you're going to cast it on yourself, so if you need to have one because you clicked fire and forget, just type in empty and click on empty projectile and it'll be an invisible projectile. impact data set. This is very important. This is going to be the little hit splatter that's going to play whenever your magic effect hits. So we do want one of those. So go ahead and click on it, type in magic, type in frost, and click on magic frost 01 impact set. Once more, like all the previous options, you can pick whatever impact data set you want to make your spell unique, but for this one, we're going to use this one. Explosion. This one's very important for this spell. Since it's ice barrage, if you don't know what a barrage is, it's just basically a giant explosion in a specific spot. So since it's a giant explosion, we do want an explosion. Go ahead and click on it, type in explosion, and go ahead and search through the options until you find the Rune Frost one. Image space mod, you don't need this. So just for the purpose of showing you what image space modding is, I'm going to pick one and show you in-game what it looks like. Dual casting, don't worry about this. Not many things use it in the game. So just leave it at that. Spell making, this is important. You definitely want magnitude and you definitely want area. So click on magnitude. For the area, type in 25. Once again, it's not radius, it's circumference. So if 25 is not as big as you want it to be, just keep increasing the number until you find something that you like. Script effect AI data, don't worry about this. This is only for AI. I'll explain this in a different video. Equipped ability, don't worry about that. Sounds, we want the basic frost casting sounds. So go ahead and click on it, type in MAG, type in frost, and click on MAG Frostbite Draw Sheath LPMSD. For charge, ready, and release, you're not going to use Frostbite, you're going to use Icicle, because it's a fire and forget spell. What you want is MAG Icicle Charge SD, so click on that. For ready, type in MAG, Icicle, go ahead and go through the menu until you find ready. What you want is MAG Icicle Ready LPSD, so click on that. For release, do the same thing, MAG, Icicle, and go ahead and go through the menu until you find fire. You have two options for this one. You can click on MAG Icicle Fire 2D SD or MAG Icicle Fire SD. If you want to see what they both sound like, go ahead and test it out yourself in-game, but for the purpose of this video, we're going to do Magic Icicle Fire SD. Casting Loop, don't worry about this. This is only for sparks and flame type spells, basically concentration spells. On hit, don't worry about this. Casting sound level, for a spell, it's usually loud, so let's click on loud. Magic item description, this is the description that's going to be on your magic inventory. So let's type in a barrage of ice. And this next part is important. You always want to add these two signs, these two. The less than and greater than sign. What this will do is make whatever's inside those two symbols, it'll make it bold. So you have two options here. You can actually put the damage that you want the spell to do. So let's say 15, or you can have it be controlled by the actual spell and type in MAG. So for this, we're going to do MAG so that the spell can actually tell this what the magnitude will be. Points of frost damage to health and stamina, period. There you go. That's a description. And congratulations, you have made your very first magic effect. If it's your first magic effect, you made a frost spell. Congratulations. Now press OK. Now time to actually make it into something that you could use. So go ahead and click on spell. It should be 1, 2, 3, 4 items below magic effect. So click on it. In the editor ID, right click, click new. Give it a unique ID. So let's do AAA, Ice, Barrage, Spell. Name, this is going to be the name in your magic inventory. So let's name it Ice, Barrage. It's going to be a spell. This whole portion here, this is called your base data. This is very important. This has to match exactly what you have in your magic effect. Otherwise, you won't find the magic effect. So it's a spell. It's a fire and forget. It's on self. Menu display object. Do the same thing as the magic effect. So MAG, inventory, INV, and then ice. Equip type, you can wear this spell on whichever hand. So type in either hand. Casting perk, this is if you want a specific perk to affect this spell. So for the purpose of this tutorial, since our spell is Adept, we want to do Destruction, Adept 50. What this will do is whenever we get this perk, this spell's magicka will be halved. Over in the effects portion, right click, click new, find your spell. If you named it the same thing I did, it's going to be at the very top. Click on that. Magnitude, this is how much damage you want your spell to do. So let's do 35. There's no duration, the area is already here. Just click OK. Now, usually when you make an area spell and you click OK, the area is going to be 0 here. To fix this, all you do is double click it and then press cancel. That should fix it. That's it, you're done. Your spell's complete. Congratulations. Now, if you're just testing the spell, you don't have to give it a book. You can just add it to yourself through the console in-game. But for this tutorial, we're going to add it to a book. So go to book, click in the editor ID, type in spell tome, and find a frost spell. So that you don't have to figure out prices and stuff like that. You can just find a spell book in its corresponding tier. So since our spell is Adept, let's find Ice Cloak, Frost Cloak. It's going to open its little window. Usually what people do is they right click it and then duplicate, but you don't have to do that. I find that very tedious. You can just double click on the actual thing you want to copy. Give this name a unique name. So let's do AAA, Spell Tome, Ice Barrage. Over in the name, you got to give it the name that's going to appear in-game, so let's do Ice Barrage as well. The value, it's already an adept value. This is just how much a spell is going to cost you. Over here in the book text, make sure you put Ice Barrage or whatever your spell name is. And in the teach us section, make sure it's spell and find your spell, which is going to be the first one if you named it what I named it. AAA Ice Barrage spell. Click OK. If you double clicked on an existing item, when it asks you to create a new object, make sure you put yes. That way you don't change the actual thing you edited, which was Frost Cloak. Once again, you have a few options here. You can either add this item to yourself via the console, or you can go buy from a vendor. To buy from a vendor, you're going to want to go to items over here in the object window. Find leveled item, click on it. In the filter, type in spell tome. These are all the leveled list items that belong to spell tomes. So since our spell is a destruction 50, go ahead and find the 50. Here it is, L item spell tome 50, all destruction. So double click that. And these are all the spells in this leveled item category thing that's going to appear in the vendors list. So right click it, click new, find your spell. It should be at the very top if you named it what I named it, AAA spell tome item Ice Barrage. Click OK. There's going to be multiple 50 destruction leveled item categories, so make sure you add it to all of them. And that is it. You're done. Your spell is now in the game. You can go buy from a vendor. So let's go do that so I can show you what the spell looks like. Before you exit the creation kit, make sure you save it. Click on save, this button over here. You can name it whatever you want. Let's do AAA Ice Barrage spell. And that's it. You're done. Your spell is now in the game. You can go buy it whenever you want. Let's go check it out. Okay, there we go. Spell Tome Ice Barrage has been added to my inventory. So let's go ahead to learn it, and let's see how it looks. So go over to Destruction, and there we go. This thing here, this is the magic inventory art that I was talking about. If you don't put anything in the option, there will be no effect here. Here's the name of the spell. Here's the description of the spell. The magical cost. We actually didn't mess with this. Let's actually step away from the people so that we don't hurt anybody. And there you go, there's your spell. And that really weird red tint with the blur, that's from the image space modifier. That's what it does. It sort of changes your whole little visual world effect. If you wouldn't have put an image space modifier, that red tint and blur wouldn't be there. It would just be the giant white frost explosion. And that is pretty much it. Your spell is now working in the game. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Peace.